board. I still don't actually know how well this is going to work out when I put it back in the organ, but I replicated that. I set up a jig that allowed me to use a small pneumatic nailer to nail those boards onto the edge after the bellows had been re-leathered. So they're glued with hide glue and nailed in place. And I sincerely hope that they're going to hang on once we get it back in the organ and working. Instead of pouches, this organ uses small bellows to actuate the valves. So these are about a ½ inch wide and about 2 inches long. They're originally covered with Zephyr cloth, which was all, or the Zephyr skin, which was all gone. Having heard some tales about Zephyr, I attempted to recover them with the thinnest available kangaroo leather. It turns out that that's too thick, and the valves would not close completely. So I had to take them all apart and redo them again with Zephyr. So once again, I haven't heard it play yet. It hasn't been back in the organ, so I can't tell you that it actually worked. And I hope the bugs haven't gotten to it in the decade that has gone by since I did this work, and it's been sitting upstairs. And then this is what you just saw across the shop with putting the new veneer on the bottom edge of that case, and then the stripped pieces that are ready to refinish. So that's the current project going on in the shop. I would guess the main chest is done. The pump has been recovered. I really just need to finish doing that upper reed chest, which is again mainly a matter of felt, replacing hinges and leather pieces that have gone south over the years. I've just got back the other day all of the metal work from getting nickel plated, and now it looked horrible before. It looks spectacular now, so that's good. So the last instrument that I want to talk about, unless there are questions anybody has. So the last instrument I want to talk about is our 89-key Gavioli Fairground organ, which, if you've been to COAA rallies, I hope you've had a chance to see it live, and so I've done a couple of recordings here for you. So this is done back in the organ shed from the back side of the organ last week. So arranged by Nick Dean. The tune, of course, is by Eric Idle. Thank you.
Who was the arranger on that tune?
Nick Dean.
Quite nicely arranged.
Yeah, no, I really like what he did with the tone. I've heard a couple of other arrangements of it, and I by far like this one the best. So I have to close with, I have basically a slideshow of the Gavioli done to a longer medley of Glenn Miller tunes. But I thought what I would do is to have any discussion, answer any questions now, and then close with that slideshow video, which runs probably about 10 minutes, and y'all can hang on or drop off as you like as we play that video. So I would open the floor to any conversation or discussion, and then when we've reached an end with that, I'll play that longer video, which is basically a slideshow of the Gavioli out in various settings where it's played with the Tom Meyer medley of Glenn Miller tunes playing in the background.
Okay, Bill Sharkey here with a comment, and the comment is, I'm impressed with your workshop. My workshop, I have to go outside to change my mind.
Yeah, well, if you remember the New Yankee Workshop and Norm Abram, it was very popular for quite a while, and people used to hear that I had a woodworking shop and say sort of like, oh, is it as nice as Norm's? And I have to sort of say, it's better.
But listen, obviously retirement is agreeing with you, huh?
Yeah, I wish I'd done it decades ago. Except I couldn't have afforded it.
We can't look back, but you have a beautiful collection and you have a beautiful workshop, and I hope you have a lot of years of fun enjoying it.
H.C. Beckman here. Some time ago, I think I discussed with you, you were going to try some of that convertible top material for bellows. Did you ever try that?
Yeah, that's what the Aeolian organ is recovered with. So,
oh, good. I bought some. Yes. I've never used it yet.
Yeah, so I bought it and I used it. It was I got the one that had the cotton on one side. It's nylon one side, cotton on the other side. Nice material to work with. It looks beautiful.
That's good to hear.
It glued on perfectly.
Yeah.
But the pump isn't back in the organ yet, so I can't tell you how it works.
Thanks.
Well, Roger, this is Sam. I was just wondering, you created the top of the organ and the side chest and also the carvings on that. Did you paint the organ as well? Did you do all the paint work?
No, the organ was painted by Rosa Patton.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not. One thing I know is that I'm not an artist, and Rosa most certainly is.
This is Craig Smith calling. Are you there?
We're here.
Hear me? Since you compared your shop to Norm Abrams, I want to see where all the clamps are.
Ah, okay, the clamps. If we must. So,
does everybody know why I asked him that?
We have a few down there.
Because you can have.
There's a few down there. Back on the wall in the far back corner, there's a whole rack of them. Over under that window, you can see about 50 C clamps. So they're not all in one place, but there are enough clamps.
Okay, well wait a minute. I thought you said Norm says you can never have enough.
Well, so I've certainly run out of clamps.
I'm impressed. I remember when I fixed some of your pipes, I used like 10 of them on one pipe, and then wrap it with rubber bands.
Right. And masking tape.
And masking tape. Yep.
Any other questions, comments?
When did you get the Diamond Jubilee?
That was now, I think 14 years ago. I should actually know that number. but I don't. I can tell you a little bit more of the acquisition story there, because that was you know, every instrument, as you all know who have instruments, has a story that goes with it. I had been you know, in love with big organs since very first time I went to Europe and went to the Dorset Steam Fair in 1978 and saw the big European organs, and I was completely enamored and in love with these things. Over the course of decades, I spoke often of my enamorment with the organs, and finally one morning with my darling wife sitting next to me as we were having coffee, I was playing a video probably on my phone or something like that, and she said, you know, I've been listening to you for 20 years now talk about wanting one of these organs. When the heck are you going to do something about it? At that point I gave her a big kiss and began the process, actually at that point, of trying to find an organ builder to make me a replica organ, because the availability of antique organs, and especially of a Gavioli or Marenghi, which is what I really had focused in on as being what I loved the sound of most, and started to work on that with Andrew Whitehead over in England, who's built a few replica large Gavioli organs. And then and this organ came up for sale from a showman in Hull in the northeast of England. So it's owned by a showman, and had been bought by him in pieces and parts. He also had a roundabout and a second Gavioli that was on the roundabout and was going through a fairly unpleasant, I guess, divorce. And so this one had to go as part of that settlement. So I went, I heard it was for sale, saw it advertised on an internet chat group, saw it was for sale. Then 2 days later, I was on a plane over to England, picked up Andrew. We drove up to the north of England, saw the organ, determined that all of the important parts were there. So all of the mechanical parts of the organ were present and in reasonably decent shape, and all of the carvings off the front. A fellow who had owned it, an owner or two before, and the story here is a little bit muddy, apparently had taken the organ apart in the late 1970s, sent the interior part of the organ to a organ builder to be refurbished, sent the carvings off to a painter to be repainted, left the case of the organ sitting out in the rain, and didn't pay anybody who was involved in the process. Then the showman in question went around, purchased the, basically paid the bills from the restorers who had worked on it, and took the organ parts in payment, and they then sat in his shed for another on the order of 15 years or so, at which time we bought it. Then Andrew Whitehead worked on it for just about a year, putting it back together. We were facing a deadline, which turns out it might have been flexible, and I didn't know enough to ask the question. But if we'd kept it in England any longer, it would have had to pay a pretty stiff value-added tax on it. So we got it reassembled and shipped it over here. When it arrived here, it didn't sound real good, or it sounded awful, to be honest. So that was disappointing, of course. And Andrew Whitehead doesn't fly, so he wouldn't come here to do any work on it. So then I got hooked up with Andrew Pilmer and Russell Wadham, and Russell came over a couple of times and worked on it for a number of days on each visit, greatly improving it in that process, but reaching the conclusion that it really needed a lot more work, and it needed a lot of revisions that had been done to the organ over its 100-year life, reversed to really put it back and get the Gavioli sound out of it. So we made the tough decision at that point to put it back into a container, ship it back to England. Russell and Andrew worked on it for a year and a half at that point, and really moved pipework around in the organ back to the original configurations, worked on ensuring that the wind supply was adequate, rebuilding the interior part of the chest and fixing a bunch of cracks that were causing ciphers, and basically, returning it to as new condition. So as you hear it today, I'm pretty happy with it, and that's pretty much the story of the story of that organ. If there's any question or comment, or if not, I can go on, say good evening to you, and go on to my my closing slideshow and video.
Roger.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you for being the first tour, and to everyone else. The first Monday of every month, look for your email. We're going to be doing tours of different collections. Roger was kind enough to offer to be first because he's hosted quite a number of Zoom meetings and is familiar with the technology, and we thought it would go rather flawlessly, which it did. So I want to on behalf of COAA and Amica, thank you, Roger, for stepping up to the plate. It was delightful so far.
Yeah, well, I really thank you. So I really miss the rallies, and I miss getting together with folks, so I was anxious to do this in order to have this kind of get together happen until we can meet again in person, and so I was willing to take the risk of going first. I hope I haven't bored you to death, but
It was excellent. It was excellent.
Yeah. Very
Yes,
good.
it was very good.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And if people want to chat afterwards, we can leave up the thing, but not spotlight you anymore.
Well, would you prefer to just have an open chat session now rather than my playing my slideshow?
No, I think.
No, I'd like the slideshow.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll play the slideshow, and then people who want to hang on and chat afterwards can certainly do that.
Roger,
Yes.
thank you.
Oh, your picture's up there.
Very nice. Wonderful.
Fabulous, Roger. Thank you for sharing.
That's
Yeah.
all, folks.
Arrangement?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, there was a question?
Yeah, was that Tom Mayer?
That's Tom Meyer. Yeah, a lot of the music I have on the organ right now is from Tom Meyer. The original physical book music that I got is almost all older British fairground music. And then when we put the MIDI system in it, when Andrew and Russell reworked it, a lot of the traditional suppliers will not sell MIDI arrangements. Tom Meyer, on the other hand, is happy to sell MIDI arrangements. So basically, I purchased his entire catalog. So I've now got enough music that I can play about a day and a half without having to repeat, which is really nice.
Have you considered having some of the original book music scanned and digitized?
So I have scanned it. Some of it I have permission to do that and use it. Others, it's merely archival at this point. So Marie, perhaps if you want to
unspotlight.
unspotlight me, and then folks can chat as they like.
Yeah, there'll be
Roger, can you hear me?
Yes, can.
I just wondered if anybody else had noticed a great similarity between your Kapellmeister and Wally Venable.
No one has mentioned that.
I'm gonna just unmute everybody. If you want to chat, then you just got a free for all.
So Marie, thank you very much for your organization of this and getting everybody here and handling all of the technical details in the background and several sound check practice sessions with me, which I appreciated.
I'm so glad that you were able to do it and that you were willing to. And if anybody else is interested in giving a tour or a presentation, we have upcoming, Bill Nunn, Bill Hall will be showing their collections. Bob Yorberg is gonna be doing a workshop for carving. Bill Newman is gonna do a workshop for pipe building.
Bruce Newman.
Oh, what?
Bruce Newman.
Bruce Newman. I keep doing that. There's so many Bills. Everybody becomes a Bill. So yeah, Bruce Newman and Tim Wagner is going to do a presentation on the beginnings of the band organ industry in the United States. So those are all things that are upcoming, and then there'll be more to come.
We also have Arnold Chase has agreed to do a tour. Bill Edgerton has agreed to do a tour. So that we have a lot of tours. We have things scheduled through the spring of this coming year. So, and if anyone else wants to join in and do a presentation, we do have some spots that we can fill.
I'm
So-
going to be doing a seminar on music arranging, I think in April.
Right.
So, yeah, so you'll all be receiving emails with upcoming events, and we look forward to seeing you at at least via Zoom.
Are these being archived anywhere?
Well, the goal is to record them, though tonight that was the technical glitch. I didn't remember to hit the unpause button until halfway through the presentation.
Marie, I have it. I did it as a screen recording. So I've got the front part. If you have the ability to edit it, I can send it to you. You can put them together.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Okay. Or if you don't edit videos, you can send yours to me and I'll put it together as
Then
a continuous.
I will send it to you instead.
That'll be fine. Email it to me and I'll put it together for you and send it back to you. You can do with it as you wish.
Awesome.
Ultimately, we want to expand the educational component of COAA. So this is part of that effort. And I think it's going to be quite a year with lots of input from many different restorers and collectors and experts in the field. So it should be a lot of fun.
Bob, you have a big question mark right behind you.
He makes the big question mark.
That's Alexander, the man who knows. So do we sign off?
Yeah, I guess that's our tour for tonight.
Anyway, thank you all for participating.
Good. Nice organization, Marie.
So I'm glad it came together.
Very, very much.
Yeah, nice organization.
Thanks very much. I enjoyed it very much.
Right.
Thanks.
Will all automatically be getting the emails in the future?
Yes. The
Very good.
confirmation emails are not automatic, so there may be a little bit of a delay when you register to getting it. But the announcements will be going out, via like MailChimp.
Right, well, we don't have to, excuse me, I have allergy. We don't have to register each time, each month.
It would be better if you do, just because of the amount of people. We have a limitation on the amount.
I see, all right, I just wanted to clarify that.
So the invitations will go to all COAA and Amica Lady Liberty members. Once you respond to the invitation, you will get a confirmation. The confirmation is what you click on to join the Zoom meeting. So if you don't respond, you're not going to automatically get a confirmation. The confirmation is so that we have a count, because there is, as Marie said, a limit.
Of course, I understand.
And if for some reason there is a glitch, you do not have a confirmation, but you said, hey, I registered, just reach out to me. My information is part of the email, so you'll be able to just track me down.
Okay.
Somebody contacted me about 5 minutes before the program and said, how do I get on? I didn't get a confirmation.
I did send out a lot of last minute confirmations, so preferably if you guys could register before the hour before.
And then you have
Out of curiosity, how many were on tonight?
Total was 38 or 39.
Fabulous.
Not good. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
And we're not counting couples. So
Right.
We have a lot of headroom then.
yeah. So
Yeah, we do.
Excellent. I guess everybody.
What's the limit number?
What?
100.
Yeah, our total max is 100 people.
Was he there when we were?
It's not real expensive to go to the next tier up and have like 1,000 cared to.
Yeah.
When we get to that point,
We'll have to go to the waiting list if we're going to 1,000.
Well, it was great to see everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night, all. Thank you
too.
all for
Good
participating.
night, Sam.
I think this is a good seed. We're going to have a great plant.
You bet.
Yeah. Okay.
Night.
Bye now.
Good night.
All right.
Good night now.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Roger, this is Paul Singer. Did you change some of the audio settings since Saturday? I think the pre-recorded ones are much clearer tonight.
Yes, that was, I mentioned, I think that we did a number of sound checks with Marie, trying to figure out exactly the right settings to use. And between Marie and I, we will be writing up a document that explains what we think are the best settings to use for distribution to other folks.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, because this is a big improvement.
Yeah, well, so for those of you who don't know, the East Coast chapter, the MBSI, had what turned out to be a practice run of this on Saturday. It did not go as well.
It was the first one.
Well, this seems perfect. The execution was wonderful. The organization was wonderful.
So
Yeah, well, I wanted it to go well enough that people would like to do it again. So that was my goal.
You succeeded.
definitely succeeded.
You were too professional, Roger.
You did it so well that you'll scare people away from trying to do it themselves.
Well, the good thing is, like, you have a good template for people to follow, you know?
I just found it a lot less stressful to have decent recordings in the can than to be wandering through the house, trailing wires and dropping internet connections and all of the things that can go wrong if you're trying to do live demos.
Got it.
And that certainly doesn't mean that everybody else has to do it that way. For the MBSI meeting, for example, we asked, put out a call for volunteers, and we had about 4 people who did a little show and tell session as part of our MBSI meeting. So they just did 3 to 5 minutes on a piece of interest in their collection, and they all were using basically handheld cell phones, and that worked fine. Yeah, it worked fine.
All right. Good night now.
And so, yep.
All right.
Thank you again, Roger. Good
Yep.
night to everyone.
Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Night.